We are the Adams and Eves. We are reclaiming our blessed family to become the true temples of God. Therefore, we need to have the support of brothers and sisters. We need to pray together. We need to really, truly read God's Word together and discuss God's Word. We also need the second generation to come in with us and study together. And I am seeing the miracle of prayer opening up the relationship between parents and children. Many times as we're trying to pass on our faith to the next generation, what we find is that it's not passed on with love. It's many times just expected that the next generation are just going to inherit it. And then when they don't, because it's simply being superimposed on them without any choice of their own, naturally, they don't feel touched or moved. However, with prayer, and also as we share prayer together among our young people, our young leaders that are coming up, our youth in our movement, we can find that they start to be touched, or they start to have experiences with the living God. What more could we ask for? Family Home Church is bringing experiences in our movement like those we experienced when we first joined. Whenever you joined the movement, you know that you had a kind of special experience. It wasn't just only logic. It was based on truth, but also you had your personal experience with God. The only way you could come to really become part of True Parents family is you have to experience what Paul experienced. You have to have an experience with the Lord where somehow you're sure in your own heart, not based on what other people say, but based on your own experience. You feel the presence of God's warmth, love, and blessing. And then with that kind of presence, you really feel the power to go forward and say, yes, I really feel this is right. And then you study more, edify yourself. This is what's going on in Family Home Church. We ask every family in America to associate with the groups that are forming naturally in your own community. This should not be something that's forced or contrived. This is not a condition or some kind of activity. This is tribal messiahship. In other words, you've been anointed. That's why I believe that everybody who came into our movement, no matter what their status is, when they start to feel that prayer wheel turning, the prayer power, and when they start to have the experience of community again, then no matter what their past experiences of difficulties and challenges, all that can become part of the testimony of the suffering that we went through to hang on, to be faithful. But all that suffering can become a beautiful, tearful testimony. Even your different bumps in the road don't have to be a sad story when they end up in your transformation in your heart, your loving heart with your children. And when you see your children blossoming like flowers, many times our children are simply like flowers that haven't blossomed yet. They're simply flowers that haven't budded yet. And many times we're expecting them to bud, and we want them to bud, and we want them to blossom. However, we don't know the time that God has chosen to touch them with the ray of God's warmth of His light of love. And when that ray of love comes and at the right time, our children can blossom. I see that. That's why a revolution is going on with our youth in America. I see second generation streaming through the gates. We are opening up every door. We're asking every organization that's affiliated or founded by Father Moon and Mother Moon to open up its door and take on the second generation college graduates, take on the elder second generation as interns and as people who will be trained to be the future leaders. I want you to know I've got two wonderful second generation leaders working with me, Mr. Tosa Cromwell and also Mr. Im Kim. And I want to say I've had an experience like never before, simply by allowing them to attend all of the meetings of our leadership, whether it be meetings for the Family Home Church with Reverend Joshua Cotter, or education meetings with Reverend Shanker and the second generation department with Mr. Reverend Jinsu Kim, or also the CARP department with Mr. Mito, by letting them to attend all of these functions, or even our work with the Universal Peace Federation and the different organizational heads that come together, letting these second generation attend, let them see the leadership of our movement. And what I've seen, brothers and sisters, they understand, even without me telling them. They are starting to initiate all kinds of things to help the work of building the kingdom on every level, with the youth, with the Sunday school curriculum, also with the activity for bringing the heads of all of our organizations, our educational institutions, all of our activities coming together. Second generation has power. They have power. You can't believe. Yunhua and Yunhee, also Yunhui is also known as, or Yunhua is also known as Yen, is now editing the Unification News. We're very, very happy about that. She is supporting Richard Lewis, and she's opened up a new section of the second generation part of the Unification News. We want second generation to just pour out their hearts and join in. Because we see that once we open these doors, God is going to touch them like the flowers that bloom. They're going to bloom. Our second generation is the hope of the future, and I believe in them. And I want to open the door. Don't judge any of them. We're also very encouraged. STF is starting a new program very focused on leadership training. So STF wants to focus on a smaller group of those young people that really feel called to go through special training for leadership. Therefore, Hyunjanim has asked for Family Federation and CARP to develop additional programs that also can be also counted as part of the 7-year course. So we're working, Family Federation, centering on Dr. Young, and also with the CARP leadership worldwide. We're working on developing other programs that also will give other options for our second generation, so that not only 50 go to the STF, but also another 450 that graduate from high school every year will have other opportunities to serve, like the Middle East Peace Initiative, or like joining the Capitol Hill Outreach Program, or like joining Women's Federation for World Peace. We are launching a very exciting initiative right now for college graduates. We would like you to participate in the Young On Kim Scholarship Program. We are going to give special scholarships to outstanding young people so that they can get their master's degree, and then they will be able to also experience through actual interaction with local communities how we develop small groups, how we develop a better way to serve the community so that our church and our faith can also have practical impact on the community. Dr. Hendricks is designing a special curriculum and special program that will meet the highest standards of the seminary graduate courses. But at the same time, Dr. Hendricks is working with me directly as the co-chairman of this new revolution at UTS, where we want the Young On Kim Scholarship to bring 30 young second generation into UTS who have graduated from college, work with them in community development and in all the areas of our movement's activities. Then they serve one of the communities in a special internship and ministry program, because Father has really emphasized that the theological grounding is necessary to become an ethical and moral leader, whether it be in business or whether it be in politics, whether it be in the performing arts, whether it be in medicine or the medical profession, whether it be in accounting or in also the academic world. All of these areas of profession, whether it be in government or in civil society, all these areas, all these professions require that good leaders have a moral and ethical foundation. And that means they cannot only understand just the divine principle, they must understand how the divine principle enlightens and informs all the faith traditions. Only through the seminary can you understand the theological foundation of every culture, whether it be the Muslim culture or the Jewish culture or the Confucian culture that is the undercurrent of China, which is so good and so strong in terms of emphasizing family. Only through the seminary experience can you really get a deeper understanding, an academic and professional understanding of how our true parents and true parents' thought and true parents' teachings guides and informs all the cultures of the world, so that when you become a business leader, you're an ethical and moral business leader, and you don't allow the typical kinds of walls and barriers to come in where you try to only do business that benefits your own race or your own society, your own community, but you start to have a global perspective of mutual cooperation, mutual co-prosperity, where everybody should benefit, because the whole world should become like the human body, which everything is functioning in a symbiotic relationship of complementary and cooperative relations that benefits the whole. From the individual cell to the whole being, everything should benefit. And business should operate this way. Business should operate with that. But how can you have business operate like that if you don't have an ethical and moral foundation